Did you pack this case yourself, sir? And do you have any of these prohibited items in your case? I hope you answer those very, very truthfully. But welcome to Swinn's Travel HQ, where we're going to take you through the things you can put in your suitcase, take you through the rules regarding batteries, liquids, sharp things, blunt things, and all sorts of things. The things that are not allowed in your suitcase and the things you can keep in your pockets. We'll be covering things like batteries. What are the rules regarding batteries, especially the lithium iron ones, and the risk of fire that they represent? And can you put them in your suitcase? Can you put them in your carry-on case? How many can you take? What are the rules regarding liquids? We've got to put them in those little plastic bags, but do we know how much we've got to put in and what we've got to put in and what we can put in? I've been travelling now for many, many years. I've been travelling both for business and for pleasure. And on the way, I learned lots of tips, tricks and hacks. And I'm going to be sharing those with you today. First up, we have sharp objects. What you can take with you, what you can put in your carry-on bag and what you can put in your checked-in bag. So let's just have a look at a couple of items. Here we have a pair of kitchen scissors. What do you think? You can carry them with you, carry them in your carry-on bag, or put them in your checked-in bag. What do you think? Okay, we've also got a pair of nail scissors. Quite sharp little blighters. Look here. Carry-on bag, checked-in bag. Can't carry them at all. What do you reckon? These kitchen scissors can only be put in your checked-in bag. They've got to be kept out of the way. They're too large. The nail scissors, okay to put in your carry-on bag. Okay, put it in your checked bag. Okay, you can put it in your carry-on bag. But don't bring it out and play with it because you might stab someone. Other items are things like pen knives and any other sort of knives like that. Safest of all, because you're not going to need them, I hope, on the plane, is put them in your checked-in bag. They're out of the way and they're fine. I'll just show you something which I've got into trouble with, believe it or not. Here, it's actually a small hiking stick. Something when you're hiking away you can travel. I find going through the airport, sometimes my slightly dodgy hip gets a bit tired, so I carry one of them just to give me a bit of support. I've used it for quite some time until I think it was, we were coming out of somewhere like Cyprus. I'm pretty sure it's Cyprus. Anyway, we came out there, we queued, go through security, he takes a look at this and looks at it and looks at it again, calls his manager over, has a look, and then they pull the bottom off. This one, you can't remove. The one I had before, I didn't even know you could remove. You can remove that rubber piece off the bottom and it left a little small spike on it. It's quite a blunt spike, but they refused to let me have it. I pleaded with them, and they said no, and they just went, and that was the end of my stick. I didn't get into trouble, but I'll never see my stick again. So there you go, that's it. So be careful of your sharp objects. If any doubt at all, stick them in your checked-in bag. So let's talk about valuables. That's, your jewellery and electronic items, particularly expensive ones. Your obviously your mobile phone, you carry that with you. That's quite an expensive piece of electronic gear. So keep that on you and take good care of it. And similarly, you do that for sort of cameras and things, or keep it in your bag with you. Okay, well, when it comes to valuable items, it comes back to the sense of whether you want to carry it when you're travelling. I know some people do like to carry lots of stuff and they've got all gold around their neck and all the rest of it, and probably that is the safest place to keep it. And there are no stiff rules on it other than the actual value of it when you arrive. Then if it's really, really expensive, then you could get into some issues there with customs. So you've got to watch the amount of value that you're carrying, the same as the amount of cash. You've probably seen, particularly in the United States, when people are travelling in the States, certain officers will challenge them and ask them how much cash that they're carrying on them. And if it's a great amount, they're sort of seizing it. Over here in the UK, if you're going to another country, then there are things like dogs and that wander around sniffing you to see if you've got much cash on you. Cash sniffing dogs. Obviously the same sort of thing they do when they check people for drugs. You need to just make sure you haven't got too much with you. You need to be able to say where you got it from and what you're going to use it for. Otherwise you fall foul under the money laundering laws. Careful with your valuables. If you show them off, then you're putting yourself as a target. Coming up soon, we'll be talking about the batteries and the risk of fire that they represent, and show you some quite interesting facts about those. Next up is an item for you smokers out there, or you vapors it may be. Cigarettes, a packet in your pocket isn't a problem. They're not worried about it at all. Matches, there's some rules about those. If I've only got one box of matches and they are of the safety sort, you know, the smaller box, usually with the brown tops, that can only be struck by striking it on the box itself. They're okay, but only one packet with you, preferably put into a polythene bag. Now let's look at vapes, or vaping devices, shall I say. Some of those are rechargeable, some are not, some have got lithium batteries, some haven't. You're allowed one and only on your person, okay? Again, slip it into a clear polythene bag, put it in your pocket on your person. But the recommendation normally is to keep it on you. The same goes for cigarette lighter. It's requested that you put it into a polythene bag and keep it on your person. I don't know whether I've ever seen anybody at an airport actually enforce any of these rules, but these are rules from the TSA in the United States, using the rules from the customs offices and immigration here in the UK, as well as looking at other places around the world, and we've got an average of all of it. That vapes are not legal in all countries, and UK is okay at the moment, but shortly, the middle of next year, single-use vapes will be becoming illegal in the UK. If you go to Thailand, for example, and some other Asian countries, they are illegal completely altogether. Although you see people walking around smoking with them, if the police did stop you and wanted to be funny about it, they could, and you could get into trouble through vaping. Talk about medicines. If you've got anything specific that you must have, you know, they are your life support, so that could be an inhaler or something similar, they're okay. If it's something you rely on throughout the flight for your health and your survival almost, then you are allowed to carry it. If it's a bigger item, then you need to talk to the airline first and get it agreed. And if you're a sort of person that has difficulty breathing and you need to carry oxygen, you really must inform the airline first. Coming back to medicines, most medicines are okay. Put the ones that you need for the flight, and I only ever, if I need a pill, I will only put the amount of pills I need and double it up for the flight. That's okay, but I could put everything into the checked-in bag and no problem. I usually put a couple of headache pills in my bag, that's all. When it comes to other things, again, keep it in your checked bag if you can, but do be wary that when you arrive in different countries, there are lots of different rules on medicines, even if they are prescribed medicines. A while ago, I fell over and bruised a rib, basically, and the hospital, on prescription, gave me this prescription still written on the side with my name on it. It's okay in the UK on prescription. Certain countries, it is banned completely. They absolutely ban the use of codeine, so you can't carry it in. It's as simple as that. And again, if you desperately need it, if it's one of those drugs, and it's one of those that you're going to depend on for your life, then again, check with the airline. But what I would also do is, if you really, really need it, is make sure that it's in its original packing. Don't open it up. Make sure it's still got that label on it that says it's from the doctors and the pharmacy, so it's specially for you. And also, preferably, get a letter from your doctor saying that you need to take it. And if you do that, you should be okay. The rules are on an aircraft, you cannot carry it. You cannot carry your sidearm, your gun, and you cannot carry the ammunition unless, they're in the proper packaging and they're carried completely separately from each other and they're in your checked-in bag. You can't carry it on your person, you can't carry it on your carry-on bag. You are coming, let's say, from the USA where these things are allowed, and you come over to Europe, and particularly if you come to the UK, where in the UK, not even the police are allowed to carry guns. So nobody carries a gun over here at all. Some people are allowed to have a hobby of shooting with them, but they have to go to gun clubs, and those guns are actually kept at the gun club. They're not allowed to carry them to and from the gun club. So it's very, very strict here. Self-defense items, that includes things like pepper spray, it includes certainly things like tasers. Any of those sort of items are totally prohibited on the flight anyway. You're not allowed it in your hold luggage, you're not allowed it in your checked-in luggage, you're not allowed it on your carry-on luggage, you're not allowed it on your person. It is totally prohibited, any of the self-defense items. Also banned, sounds obvious really, is fireworks. Fireworks and those sort of things are not allowed on the flight. Totally prohibited. They're not allowed on the flight at all, not in your carry-on bag, not in your pocket, not in your checked-in bag. They are just not allowed, which is pretty sensible, you know. I've put these two together, what is tools and sports equipment. If it's small amounts of sports equipment, your job in sport is throwing a ball and you want to carry a ball with you, you haven't got a problem, providing it's in your checked-in bag. Any larger items like skis and other things, device that you need for working, you need to check with the airline and check it in separately as a separate item. Again, my advice on any of these, and I've mentioned it a couple of times before, is that it is always better if you can keep the original packaging and put it back in that original packaging, and therefore you know it's secure. Now we're going to look at that one of liquids. When you go through security, you have to take your laptop out of its bag and you have to get them to scan that separately. You've got to take your liquids out. You're only allowed 3 in one little polythene bag. So there we are, we've got these liquids. You're only allowed these 3 liquids in one little bag. 3.4 fluid ounces, which is the US level, which over here equates to 100 millilitres, which is a lot easier to remember. So one bottle mustn't contain more than 100 millilitres in that bottle. And that includes whether it's a cream, whether it's a liquid, whether it's a paste, whether it's a gel. That all adds up as your liquid content. So, okay, I've one I made up here just for fun. Really, we've got a little bit of sun cream in there. We've got Listerine there to give yourself a nice smelly breath. And we've also got a bit of spray on sun cream as well. Now altogether that adds to a lot less than your maximum amount, but you're only allowed 3 items, as I say, in the United States. In the UK, it's a little bit different, and in other countries, you're allowed as much as you can get into that little bag, which, again, over here, I'll put these measurements on the screen, I think. Let's talk about what you're allowed to carry. Okay, so you're allowed aerosols, providing they are not too big. They should be kept into your carry-on bag. I think anything that's not on that dangerous list you're okay for. One of the rules is that if we've got a bigger bottle like that, forgive me my American followers, I'm going to be talking in litres because it's just so easy, or centilitres, okay? So this bottle here, is 250 millilitres. Now, of course, you're only allowed 100 millilitres. That's just 3.4 fluid ounces. That full up is too big, isn't it? Now, the question often comes up, well, can I empty that out and leave 100 millilitres left? Or can I use an empty bottle of that size and put 100 millilitres of liquid in it? No, you can't. It's measured by the bottle, whether it's full or empty. You're not allowed a container which can hold more than 100 millilitres, okay? So no matter what you put in it, that's it. All of these things are okay, and it's your personal preference what you want to carry on the plane. It depends on the length of the flight. Toothpaste there. Now that is included in your liquid quota. I have this could be deodorant, or it could be something else, which this is. It's actually anti-mosquito stuff, but it's a roll-on. Now that roll-on has a liquid in it or a gel in it, so therefore it counts in your liquid quota. And a lot of people still like to carry hand gel. There we are, there's a small hand gel. Again, don't forget that is included into that quota that you've got. So that's a third of your quota, one of those, if you're going to carry it with you, and it's got to be put in that little square bag. The only exceptions to this, as I say, if you buy these things in duty-free, in most places anyway in the world, if you buy it on the duty-free side, they put it in a sealed bag and you're allowed to carry it on the plane. You're not supposed to open it. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about batteries. What can you carry on the plane and what type can you carry? In my hand here, this is standard what they call dry cell battery or an alkaline battery. The sort you put in your torch or in your radio, they're not rechargeable. They are the standard sort of batteries. Now, how can you carry them on the plane? Here you go, we've got a few there. Can you stick them in your case like that? Not really. The problem is that any battery has terminal either end, and if they're loose like this, they can short out. Get some coins or key or keychain next to it and they can short out the battery, potentially cause some sort of baby fire or some damage in some way or another. So what you need to do is either get some insulation tape and put round it and then put them in a nice plastic bag so that holds them completely together so that they are completely safe. Or the preferred way really is when you buy them, keep them in their original retail packaging. That way they're safe, they're protected, they can't get bashed or damaged, and they certainly can't short each other out, which is the important factor here. the big item is, of course, lithium batteries. Now, they're the ones that are in the scooters and cars, everything really, from cameras all the way up. There's a small lithium battery there. This is the sort that goes in my camera. It's okay, but even this, short it out, squash it, squeeze it, or damage it in any way, there is a potential fire risk, even on a baby one like that. Certainly enough to cause you a serious burn if it was in your pocket, and certainly damage all your belongings if you had it in your case. So, best way to carry these, really, is to get yourself something like that. Now, that is a little plastic box, very cheap and inexpensive, off of eBay and the like. It's made for that particular battery, and it's got sort of rubber inserts in there, so you can pop it in there, and then you can see it's fixed in that box. And once it's fixed in there, shut the lid. It can't do any harm. Nothing can do any harm to it. If you buy a manufacturer's version of a way of carrying them, that's even better. This is my drone battery, somewhat more powerful, and of course a higher risk of fire and damage, and even a potential explosion if it was crushed severely. If you hammered a nail through that right now, it would cause quite a big fire, and it's the actual energy that's in the battery that's creating the problem, along with the actual contents and the way the batteries are made. That's the original method of carrying the batteries. It clicks in, it can't fall out, its terminals can't get shorted out, so therefore the risk of fire is reduced enormously. Carry it in its correct carrying box, that's it there. This is much, much bigger. It's what they call 1.5 amp hours, and it's quite a large battery. And you can see it's physically large as well, but equally, if you look carefully there, I think you can see it, the terminals are visible, so should something fall in there and short it out, you've got a serious problem. Should something drop on it, or you drop it onto the concrete, you've got a problem, because the lithium battery's in there, and it's still that potential fire, certainly this size, explosive risk. That's why they're so careful about taking these batteries on an aircraft. And on a plane, there is a maximum amount of these batteries that you can actually take with you. The reason for that is that the maximum capacity they want you to have to prevent there being a really serious fire risk is 100 watt hours. It's 1.5 amp hours. That's how many amps it will produce in an hour. But to find its total quantity it will produce, which is its wattage, you need to multiply the voltage, which is 18, along with its amp hours, which is 1.5. This battery is 27 watt hours. Very shortly I'm going to show you some of the things that can happen with these lithium ion batteries, and how easily it is for them to catch fire, and what damage they can actually cause. But before we do that, there's something I must mention. You've travelled somewhere or other and bought your grandson, your son, or whatever, daughter, you've bought them a bike, and it's an electric bike, and it charges up. It has one of these in it. If you buy one of these hoverboards, skateboard, electrically operated skateboards or scooters, they've got lithium ion batteries in them. So you must talk to the airline before you carry them. If that can go back in its retail packaging, so much the better, because it will be safe while it's packed in there. You must talk to the airline and tell them what you want to do. They will probably carry it separately, and they need to know what type of item you've got. There may be a charge, of course, for them carrying it on the airlines. So what we've got coming up next is what happens when one of these batteries either gets damaged, short-circuited, or squashed. What happened when a dog decided that this might be a bone. Now, no animals were hurt during this, or after it, I'm pleased to say, but it is a good lesson. You look at this dog chewing away. There's a lesson here, isn't it, to learn not to leave your power bank lying around, and certainly not on something inflammable, and not on something that the actual dog can get hold of. Just look at this. Whoa, amazing, isn't it? Yeah. But the dog's all escaped okay, I'm pleased to say. Oh, next clip up is one of these little e-scooters. You know, like a little motorbikes, basically. The important thing is here, and this is the New York Police Department's little video, of not charging them in a doorway or in your escape route, or even in your house, really, charge them up outside. This other one here is a mobile phone or a cell phone that was left on the dashboard of the car with the sun getting onto it. overheating the battery. And here, another little battery there, overheated, and you can see the results. Okay, now these, amazingly enough, are your e-cigarettes or your vapes. Don't put those in your pocket, eh? Not a power bank in someone's bag. This is a laptop battery. Crazy, the damage they can do. Again, no people were hurt in this one. You can see it's a little scooter there, it's almost like a toy scooter. Obviously there, he's unplugged it. Whoa. Oh my goodness. Oh, there you go, right? So the big lesson that they're trying to get across these various fire departments is always buy a genuine bona fide product. Always use the proper charger that came with it. Don't buy a cheap one online. As these are the things that can happen. Look at this poor guy. Way. Anyway, we've like to say thanks to all the fire departments and things. I put a link below. If you have a mind to, it would be great if you could give us a like and also subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for watching and joining me at my Travel HQ. Hope you enjoyed the tips for today, and I hope you join us again soon. If you're about to travel somewhere soon, may I wish you a pleasant and safe journey.